The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich. Our podcast is dedicated to amplifying the voices of the disability community. We appreciate you tuning in, listening, telling your friends, and all of that. Just being addicted to us. That's what we're looking for.
We do. We want to be your new bestie.
That's right. I'm a polio survivor, and Addie
has cerebral palsy.
Hey.
Still.
Did you have a good week?
I did. It was busy. I mean, work feels like work.
Work
As
feels
we
like
know,
work.
It should be. It was like still a productive week. It was not overwhelming where I felt like I had not done things, but I need to talk to my social calendar because I kept myself out too late.
Oh, that part, yeah.
I am too old for that. My body still hurts today.
Well, now you did a lot. It wasn't just the night out. You had a couple other stops during all day long, right?
Events, and I made the mistake of like various friends at various times saying, "Let's do this, let's do that," and I didn't think through the date or the time.
They all fell on the same day.
So I have a lunch event. Then I'm supposed to hang out with this other person. Then I go to this thing at night, but I don't have Literally, I had person A for lunch drop me off at person B for the evening thing, and did not come in until after the clock struck midnight. Don't tell my mom. But I feel it.
You're still recovering.
Yes, Doug can say so from the look.
Yeah.
The bags under my eyes.
Well, you gotta do that every once in a while, just to remind yourself you can't, if nothing else.
Noted.
So I know you're not a big drinker. So was that?
No, it's just my body is not regulated to walking a long distance multiple times with short stops in between and no nap.
Yeah.
Naps are my favorite, and there was no time for a nap.
So a combination of all that stuff.
No drinking, truly. It was just the dragging my container around for 13 hours outside of my house.
Yeah. I know, because, every once in a while there's some event, and it doesn't even have to be a whole day of anything, and it doesn't even have to go that late, but, I start, seriously eyeballing bedtime at 8 o'clock. Now that I'm this age, I understand people. I understand old men that wear overalls. I can remember my grandpa wore overalls all the time. And, but it's just, you want to be comfortable. You want to get your sleep.
Exactly.
You want to have dinner early.
Exactly.
And I don't
care
go to bed
and have your silence. Like we've talked about. I mean, I'm friendly on this. I'm bubbly. I love to talk to people, but it takes a lot of social battery to do so.
Yeah.
And even I don't realize it because I'm running on adrenaline when I'm doing it. And then the adrenaline wears off and I'm like, wow, I need a cone of silence for a minute.
Well, I in radio for 50 years, you'd think I would be, the life of the party, but I'm not. I'm kind of a wallflower when I go into those situations. That initial meeting somebody is where I kind of lock up. Not when I'm meeting the person, but going into a situation where I have to meet somebody and chat or whatever. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm shy, because once I start talking to somebody, especially if I find them interesting, I can go all night. But and we talked about this a little bit earlier too. Is sometimes you will accept an invitation for something, and then as the event gets closer, it's like, God, I got to get an excuse to get out of this.
Don't tell on us, Doug. You put this in here. We can never not say yes again. God.
I know they're never going to believe anything.
How was your week?
It was good. I think I mentioned last week that things have kind of slowed down a little bit, and so I was spending some time kind of finding some more resources for the resource page. So I was doing kind of generic searches, for adaptive sports, and then finding places. There's all kinds of organizations across the country that are doing. So I'm adding those. So I'm trying to grow this outside of being so centered towards Southern California.
Right.
And so, so if you're looking, and then, instead of finding, say, a local group that is dealing with arthritis, maybe in addition, putting up places that are, kind of the more national type, and start there, and then,
doing lots of good housekeeping that will benefit people.
And always looking for events. I say this all the time, but if you got one of these kind of organizations in your area that does adaptive sports events, or, there's a gym that specializes in people with spinal cord injuries or the disabled or whatever, please send those along, and we'll include those, trying to grow that and give it value as you think. Well, one of those places we're talking to today.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and I've been kind of working with them for quite a while to work it out what we're going to talk about, because they are there's so many programs and research and different things that they do there. I mean, literally, if you go to their web page, there's like, I think 4 or 5 buttons across the top of like a certain topic, like disability, and then you drop it down, and there's 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 things under some of those, so we've kind of found one that we wanted to
we found a lane,
and so we got them on, and they are coming today.
I'm excited about this one.
So
we always talk about it, like, even though disability wasn't like as acknowledged and talked about, it still existed, right? And this is truly a program that stepped in a long time ago, like 100 years ago.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yes.
They're the OG of organizations like this.
Yeah, for sure.
So Lisa Hilborn, and Dr. Rachel Tran. Ms. Hilborn is the head of the adaptive program over there, and Dr. Tran is head of physical therapy. So we'll get it from both those, and where they meet, where they intersect. So we'll do that right after we hear from our good friends at Adyar Professional Training.
At Adyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Adyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Adyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
From the Adyar Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
Step into the stories, hear the truth unfold. Voices rising boldly, breaking every mold. Life without limits, we shatter the walls. Together we're stronger, standing tall. These are the tales of hearts unchained, of battles fought, of joys reclaimed, through open talks and journeys shared. We show the world how much we care.
You are listening to Walk and Roll Live, and we've got a couple of guests today. And normally we let them do kind of a brief introduction, and then we go into it a little deeper and get the whole story. But our two guests today have a long list of accomplishments, and so I kind of drilled down a little bit and just going to do some of the highlights, just shortened it because we'd be here all day. So I'm going to start with you, Rachel. First, we have Dr. Rachel Tran. Rachel leads Casa Colina's Transitional Living Center, working with individuals recovering from neurologic and traumatic injuries as they prepare to return to everyday life. She's a doctor of physical therapy, trained through the USC Rancho Los Amigos Neurological Residency Program, and is nationally recognized for her work in neurologic rehabilitation and physical therapy education. So thank you for being here. And we're also joined by Lisa Hilborn. Lisa is the Director of Outdoor Adventures, Recreation Therapy, and Wheelchair Sports at Casa Colina. She's spent more than 35 years using adaptive sports and recreation to empower people with disabilities, from grassroots programs to Paralympic level training. And she continues to build a strong, connected adaptive sports community through Casa Colina. Rachel and Lisa, thank you for joining us on Walk and Roll Live.
Proud to be a part of it.
Thank you for having us.
It's like a dream come true for me. I've been working on this for probably a year and a half. You know, once we started this, at some point I knew I have to have Casa Colina on. So maybe we can start with, because, you know, there's so much that you guys have done, and even, of course, stuff before you came to Casa Colina. But what brought you to Casa Colina? And you figure out who wants to go first.
Sure. So, I've been at Casa for about 9 years, and I started here as a physical therapist. And what drew me to Casa Colina was the work ethic of the therapists. As a physical therapist, this is a dream place to work at because the scope is so wide, the gyms are so big, there's so much opportunity. There's a pool, there's a hospital, there's sports. You know, you get bored with one area of practice, you can try something else. And when I came here to interview, I immediately recognized just how hard everyone worked here. And that is the culture, that culture of work, hard work and excellence, but without pretense, is what really draws me to Casa and keeps me excited and proud to be here.
How about you, Lisa?
Well, I think Casa Colina is one of these full circle places. And saying that, I have to say I started at Rancho Los Amigos and went to the Lakeshore Foundation in Birmingham, Alabama. It's a Paralympic and Olympic training site and the home of USA Rugby. And Casa is this incredible world-class facility that has people who are passionate about every single niche. And the teams and the collective team are something to aspire to every single day. I drive home and go, I can't believe I get to do this. And when I say full circle, it's everything Rancho was, everything Lakeshore is, and has the potential to be even more, because we work with grassroots and we have a couple maybe Paralympic hopefuls. So
right, that's amazing.
And I definitely want to talk about that as we lead into the Olympics and the Paralympics. So I want to talk more about that. There's so much that Casa Colina does, you know, and I just want to kind of say that up front here. And I didn't really know until I started pursuing you guys to come on for an interview. I, of course, was kind of disability sports. I was interested in that. Rehabilitation for recent injuries with SCIs and TBIs. And then when I started looking at the website and looking, there's got to be at least 30 different areas in research and so many things. So we're just focusing on the part that you guys know about. And I almost don't know where to start. Maybe I can kind of lean on your expertise. Or Addie, do you feel like
I think I'm just excited to be sitting here because we've heard Casa Colina mentioned like so many times in our interviews of people, because they're always like, and then Casa Colina, and I'm like, okay. And now here we're getting to sit with you guys because obviously, like, I was born with cerebral palsy, but I know like how important it was to have physical therapists. And like Rancho did a lot of my testing when I was little. They would take me down there to do testing and stuff. And I know that because of places like you and people like you is why I live my life the way I do, and why I, aspire for things and have the body still, at my age that I can aspire and actually do some of those things. So I'm so excited to see a place that like this is your passion. You build people or rebuild people. People have the spirit. You help with the body that contains the spirit, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to sit here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's the body and the spirit. I don't think that the body can continue on without the spirit. And I think that's what Lisa and I do so well in both of our little factions. One of the things that makes Casa so great and why you keep hearing the name is because of our rich history. So we are entering our 90th year as an organization. And every year, this place just keeps growing. You can be off campus for 2 years and come back and see 3 new buildings. And I think that's one of the things that's so inspiring was, getting to work here is if we have a great idea, we get to act on it. As long as it's like sound and purposeful and meaningful, there's not too many people telling us no. And that's what allows us to keep growing throughout all of the 90 years.
Right. I think if it was innovation, obviously, that originally started it. I don't know if you can tell us just a blip about like how that started 90 years ago, because I mean, just look at the thought process of how disability was viewed, right? So popping up and saying, we're going to do this thing. And people are like, what? Just put them away. Like, don't help. That sounds horrible, but that is some of the mindset. So here's this thing that says, no, I'm going to do something different. So.
Yeah, we were initially founded as a tuberculosis sanatorium, like so many of the great institutions. And I think at one point we sold vegetables and herbs to help with our revenue generation.
Wow.
And since then, right, we've moved our campus to its current location here in Pomona. We've expanded the campus. We have built an offsite clinic for in Azusa. We're building one in Monrovia. Right. So our roots were in polio, but we just have kept growing.
Amazing.
So you have the clinical side and you have the kind of the real life outcome side. So how do you guys work together?
I'd love to take that one because I'm proud to work alongside Rachel. She's the director of TLC, and she has these great ideas, and I'll let her talk some about them. But we get to fit in sometimes with her great ideas and take part. And it is this passion, right? The innovation is started by a passion and a dream. And like Rachel said, we don't get no, we get explain how that will happen, how we people safe and why does it matter? And when you talk about people with disabilities, you're so right about the fact that it was Jerry Lewis, you're half a person and you're in a steel encasement. Yeah. And one of the best things I think we do together at TLC and as an organization is we look at the individual, we see the characteristics and that individual's potential, right? With or without a disability, and significant or not, being able to say, what is it you're interested in? How can we work with you? Because you're right. The impetus is within the individual. We merely support it, right? We merely say, what do you want to do? We'll see if we can facilitate that. We'll see if we can give you those tools. And Casa Colina, from a history standpoint of sport, Casa Colina is known as the pinnacle. It was a household name, right? Yeah. The dynasty in wheelchair basketball, David Kyle, that era of the dynasty, right? It was the place for wheelchair basketball. 11 Hall of Famers came out of Casa Colina. And when you're right. And so from the other side, that is exactly why Casa Colina is a household name. And the fun part about the huge shoes that I have to fill is that I have the opportunity to look at what's been done in the past, and it's been done so incredibly well, but to try to pull it all in and say, we're going to dabble in everything. And maybe we won't have this dynasty of a basketball team, but we're going to produce the opportunity for rugby players, basketball players, tennis players, and everything in between. And that's what's exciting to us.
I was kind of curious, and I wanted to ask you this, Lisa. So somebody that gets injured, not necessarily were they an athlete before, and you have this rich history of athleticism with Casa Colina. How does that fit for somebody who wasn't particularly athletic before? How do you use that to kind of move them forward?
that's the beauty of my position. Yeah. So my position is wheelchair sports, and I will readily admit is my passion. However, I have a certified recreation therapist on staff who is that artsy, that craftsy, that person who says, let's pull it at this angle, let's go sailing. And the other part of this position is outdoor adventures. So we have you one way or another with all of our tools and our opportunity. We'll get you.
Yeah,
You're like, hold on, let me get the Rolodex. Let me just go look and like, can you fill out this personality survey? But I think that's one of the things that's so different, right? Because typically, like when you're in a medical setting, you are a patient and not a person, and you have all this like, here, take this pill, your number 5678, and you'll get this result because you're in the books and the book says this. So I love that you guys A, say hi person, B, speak to all pieces of the person and say we can rebuild it, but here's what we're gonna do. How?
That's the I'm sorry, Rachel, go ahead.
I would say the department that oversees the Transitional Living Center, we see our role as restoring life and all of its facets. Life exists beyond basic function. Life exists beyond pain-free movement. Life is that 15% of your week where you feel powerful and creative and funny and whatever it is that you may be doing that elicits those emotions, right? For Lisa, it's playing her wheelchair sports. For me, it's cycling. For others, it's cooking or drawing, rock climbing, whatever it is. And so coming at it with the lens of our role, our job is to restore life after injury. Well, then the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. And you answered the question before you even asked it. That's where I was going. And one other thing too is I think is important throughout all of this is we're keeping people from being isolated. They get to socialize through all of these activities, right?
Well, it's a community. Yeah. And what's so much fun is we get to see people go back to what they were loving doing in the beginning, well before their injury. And we have a particular individual, I won't mention his name, but he has become a dear friend, and he has gotten involved in every facet and beyond what Casa offers, different organizations nearby that we work with as well. And he was in his house, not doing anything for 7 years. And when you have somebody who has come from that as an ally or an advocate saying, the catalyst for this is right there, he's profound. And he sits right alongside of us on a daily basis and says, oh, we're not going to sit there. Come on, let's go. And you have somebody with lived experience speaking that, it makes the bigger difference in the world, because Rachel and I get that we do not understand fully what it is to have a disability. We get it. We know that we need to work together in the collective on this continuum of rehabilitation with everybody along the pathway, and pull people in who get it, right? Who truly live it and can share what they're possibly experiencing at that moment. We know we set the table, and we better invite every single person possible to it.
Yes. Yeah. Addie and I, we talk a lot about, finding your community, because when I first started doing this, I realized fairly early on, and our listeners have heard me say this probably a number of times, but I don't care because I think it's very important, is that we were talking to the people that made it. That made it a very successful transition, pre and post injury, and had gone on to these incredible feats of athleticism or in their careers and all of that. And then I got to thinking, well, hang on a second. There are some people that are at home. They don't get out. And then we've had a few guests that tell that story, just like that, like your story. One young man was at post injury, was home for like 12 years. And he went to somebody suggested a group. He went to a group, and now he's, involved with the community, and a lot of the community can't do without him at this point. So, so important.
Well, and those are the people I love. Like, that's why I do this with Doug. Those are my people that I want to like knock on their door and say, hey, turn on a light in here, but I'll go sit on the floor with you and we'll just wait until you're ready to come to the door. Like, that is me. I was given this in kind of my spirit to do things like this and not be scared, but I'm after those people. I'm after the person who like randomly got a thing slid under their door that said, come on, and they left it there for 2.5 years. And then, I just knock on the window and say, I see you, and I'm not going to stop seeing you until you talk to me. That's me.
And you must see a lot of that at your sports events where somebody has finally encouraged somebody and nudged them enough where they'll come to a sporting event, and then that just opens up their whole world.
You bet. Every day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's one of the areas that's lacking, right? In traditional healthcare, right? You have an injury. If you're lucky enough to get into acute rehab, it's a couple weeks, and then you're told you're ready to go home, and all of a sudden, right, your life is totally different. And so, who would have the confidence, to venture out? Who would have the know-how to navigate a whole new world? And I think one of the things that makes our department, the Transitional Living Center, so special is, we recognize that. And so day one, a new patient will come in and you'll hear the therapist say, Lisa, we got to get her on a bike. We got to get her in a sports chair. Or, oh my goodness, she's got so much potential. She's got to meet you. She's got to meet your team. So we're just so quick because we value that. It's actually, community is actually listed as one of our department values. We want to create a place where people feel a sense of belonging. So without that, you don't have the confidence to get out and live life in the world, right? And so if we can instill confidence and belonging in someone after injury, we think we're going to help set them up better after they go home, once they go home.
Yeah. Can you talk about how it transfers over to the rest of their life? I mean, if maybe sports ignited the flame, but, soon after that, they're pursuing a career that they had kind of given up on or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see that in different ways all the way through. I think so much of the time, just from an accessibility standpoint, if you're able to move your chair and you understand the dynamics in your chair and how that works, the inaccessible world, it's easier to jump a curb. It's easier to go down something that is not compliant or dirt or any of the other barriers that people with physical disabilities face. But I think bigger than that is becoming part of this community. We start realizing how to break down these barriers, right? And you both know that the biggest barrier somebody with a disability faces is in the minds of us, us able-bodied people who do not get it, right? And how do we educate rather than legislate? How do we teach somebody to do the right thing for the right reason so they'll do it right the next time? Not because they're scared somebody's gonna sue them, but to do it really right. Do it in the whole spirit of the law, not to the letter of the law. So how does somebody find their niche? It's so much fun to watch in sport that I think that sport is this beautiful catalyst or vehicle that pulls people into a positive environment. It was for me in college. I know it was for you. You get friends, but you're influenced by those friends. And those friends can turn around and say, this is my community and I would like to share it with you. I would like you to have these resources. This is a beautiful scout that will help you in accessibility if you need it. These are hand cycles. These are, all the different tools of the trade. But even bigger than that is breaking down the barriers and learning to be an advocate for yourself appropriately and learning to teach the world of people without obvious disabilities how to ally and how to ally appropriately and to see things through your lens, right? I have, and this is going to come out all wrong, but I have to say that I have been so very blessed by people being patient with me and teaching me over the years what I need to learn in a loving way. Most of the time they're like, well, you had the right spirit, you had the right mindset, but think of it this way, and understanding barriers and understanding how to break them down. And, I would love to just say that probably, and many people died of COVID. I am not trying to say it was a good thing, but one of the things that came out of COVID was breaking down that barrier of transportation. That is one of the biggest barriers for people with physical disabilities. You can't get there, right? Especially in rural communities. And so just what you are doing here, and I know you were doing it before COVID, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the rest of the world caught on. And there is so much information and camaraderie and community that is developed in this medium that did not take place before COVID. We're just like, oh, we'll run with who can come to practice. And we didn't give it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's a travesty for the population of people you are talking about who might not join a team, who might not come out. They're more likely to come out when they can see these two loving faces looking back at them and saying, come on.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So on the clinical side, where do you start with somebody? I mean, obviously they've healed from their injuries by the time they get to you.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
We get a whole mixed bag. We could have somebody pretty fresh. Sometimes we'll get patients who maybe they've had a catastrophic injury that wasn't recognized initially. They may have been sitting at home without much resources for a short time or a very long time. Sometimes we get people fresh out of acute rehab. So yeah, we see the gamut, truly.
And that's what our experience has been here. Lisa, you're talking about, somebody lovingly, kind of guiding you through this community. I'm a member of the community, proud member for a long time. And I still, people will kind of give me the heads up a little bit about maybe something in the way I've said it, but, and that's great. And I know I can learn more just even being around this community. Yeah. The other night we got done with an event and there were three of us all in our chairs, just chatting. And, some of the things that came out of that chat, I mean, just so silly, but, everybody has these little side guards on their wheelchair. And we got to talking about transferring and how that thing, if you don't transfer just right, that thing goes up your butt. It's like we had all experienced that. So just that, it was funny.
I think if you come out and watch wheelchair sports, it's amazing to see. It's super fun to watch, but the real beauty and magic is in the conversations right after. Yeah. The conversations at lunch. It's people sharing resources and ideas. Oh, you're traveling. Oh, I just got this thing. It helped me get through the airport. Oh, no, you got to try this new ICP kit. That's really the magic. And that's part of the goal.
You're right.
Is really just to build the community and allow people to learn from each other.
Yeah. I've learned a lot of things.
And the humaning, right? Like the humaning that you can make fun of stuff that happens to all of you.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody else can, I always say I like the random gravity check because that's how I make my friends comfortable with falling because it's going to happen. But things like that, right? So if I have other people that trip, it's like, well, only one of us can trip. So let's decide now. Things like that it is that community that helps.
And we have that all. Like we all have that in other facets of life.
Right.
Cultural, religious, like we all have it. And we provide a space where it's okay, it's acceptable, it's fun, it's beautiful for disability to enter that as well.
Yes.
One thing that we've been doing in the last year, a lot of, and I think it's had a great impact, is encouraging our patients to really represent their identity in their disability. And we've been creating clothing with slogans, with wheelchairs, with designs that our patients are helping create, and we are hand making. And it's really impacting Casa, not yet the world, soon the world.
Yeah, right. It's in the works.
But to see the clinicians, this is a 1,000-person organization, to see clinicians from every department wearing a shirt that says "Never Give Up," that was designed in a logo with someone in a wheelchair, drawn by someone in a wheelchair, hand pressed by our patients. I don't think there's anything more complimentary than seeing a stranger wearing your clothing So we really rep it for Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month and Brain Injury Awareness Month. But it's been, just like you'd wear a Dodgers shirt because you're a fan of the Dodgers. This is part of our identity, and it's something that we can wear with pride and with swagger too.
So is that available to the
You have
public?
a turtle. You have a turtle. You got to talk about the tips.
Yeah, we even adopted a pet for our patients who live here with us because, our goal is to create a prosthetic environment. And I think we do it right. I think we do it best when we are inspired by absolutely everything that's going on in the world. And we bring all of the inspiration from the outside world in. So whether that is a mock Paralympic event for our patients where they'll compete, or a turtle, a pet, or other events like that, those are the things, right, that rekindle the spirit. And need the spirit to be full in order to push the body to do anything at all. It starts with the spirit.
And you can buy your swagger.
And we can even buy our swagger on
Swag.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll share it, Doug. You can post it. It's on Bonfire.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You can order all of our merch, which are made by our patients. In fact, we put it online because the demand at the hospital is too big for us.
You're like, we can't write this down and just leave it on a tablet. We need some sort of.
I kept telling my therapist, like, no, your job is actually to do therapy, not make shirts. So I have to move on from this.
But that's therapy, right?
It is therapy. That's what I do. I mean, my Plot Twist Society, I make candles and merch and different things with mugs and all those kind of things that kind of deal with the quip of the attitude that carries me through life, because somebody else is going to think it's funny, and that's what happens. I love that because creativity is inside of us all.
Yes.
Like, my thing is always, container is different, spirit is not. And if you can teach people that,
I like that.
then
and giving people the allowance to be creative and to express themselves. We even have a store where they make all of the crafts that they make throughout the week. So many opportunities, so many skilled staff. They'll do macrame or leather goods, but to have someone else buy,
right, it's a validation, right? I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So creating opportunities for our patients to feel validated, to feel appreciated, to feel gratitude and purpose has been our mission, to keep driving their rehab forward.
Yeah, I think that's just part of being a human being, right? You want to matter. You want to have purpose.
Exactly. So often we forget about that, right? It's just like, well, you got to get stronger. So 3 sets of 10.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. For a lot of people, if you call it therapy, then we don't want to do it, which I can attest to, because when I turned 16 and I was doing all my, I'd been doing therapy my whole life. And since I had my dorsal rhizotomy, when they said, you can choose, I said, screw this, and left. And now I'm 46 and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I shouldn't, but I was sick of being a patient. I was sick of being 3 sets of 10. And so I love that you guys don't do that. I love that it's fed as a lifestyle, that there's other ways that you don't even know you're doing therapy. We're not going to call it therapy. We're going to call it sailing.
Yeah.
Over the few years that we've been doing this, at least for me, I just very quickly learned how diverse our community is, and even with the same, diagnosis or a same type of injury. And also I've learned that we have many different attitudes and temperaments about things. There are some people that, they don't want you to say, inspired. You've inspired me. I know that's a big one. I know. And I kind of tiptoe around sometimes. I can't really let the real me come out, because I think I'm a little more brash, I guess, about.
You're in company, Doug.
You really are. You have no idea.
Yeah. So maybe I'll let that fly a little bit more, but I, because I do see people online, that's all over the place, and I certainly don't want to make anybody uncomfortable or hurt anybody's feelings, but I've done this a long, long time, and it wasn't until I was, I had to be 60-ish, and I'd never even considered this, and they didn't use the words, but in so many words, they were saying that I was passing as an able-bodied person. And wow, that hit me.
I bet.
Because it never entered my mind. I'm just living my life to the best of my ability. And, I never considered hiding it. I can't hide it, basically, anyway.
I know. I was like, try it, Doug.
How do I do that trick? So,
don't
what
move. If we don't move, that's you'd have to get out of your chair, too.
Yeah. Well, then I wouldn't move.
Right, exactly.
So how do you guys, deal with it? You encounter it and, just, I'm not looking for a solution, but, if you have some thoughts on it.
Ableism. And, there are a lot of conversations that take place. And I think so much of the time we do our very best to learn from them, right?
Yeah.
The difference between inspiration, meaning you're an inspiration because you put on your pants, right?
Right.
I'm an inspiration because I can nail the 3-pointer better than the guy standing next to me. That's why it's inspirational. And once we get that as a society, everything flows behind. And it's about realistic expectations and really looking at the person and gut check going, is that coming from pity or is that coming from, dude, I admire you?
Right? Dude, I can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I have kind of gone with is my questions are just authentic. I'm not coming from a place of trying to bait somebody or disrespect somebody. I want to understand and I want to be part of the conversation because in truth, we chose this career, right? And so much of the conversation that comes out and says, able-bodied don't belong, is like, whoa, man, I've been here. I don't claim to understand disability daily, day in, day out. I don't get it. I know it doesn't take me a long time to get dressed or to have to enter the back freaking door of a restaurant. I do get it. But the flip side of it is I show up every single day and ally with my best friends who happen to sit in a chair that is, important to me to be that ally. And so I don't have the answer other than to say, I want to be part of the conversation. I want to learn and I want to be included just as somebody with a disability 100-fold gets to make the decision about what happens with their life or what happens with the disability movement. I want to just also have a seat at the table, and that is, I know what I'm saying is controversial. I'm clear on that.
With some people, with some, I call them factions, within our community. Yeah, there's the hardliners that you can't deviate, from all the stuff. And then there's other people that have thicker skin and are getting on with their life the way I look at it. But you talk about going into the back door at a restaurant, and I've had to do that before. But when I go to a town that's heritage is in the 1890s, and it's this little pizza shop that's just probably barely staying alive, I don't want them to have to spend all the money to make it accessible that they can't afford, or it might put them out of business. So if I have to go through the back door, so be it. That's just me. And it's situational. It's case by case.
That's a mature mindset too, though, right? That's a very mature mindset. And unfortunately, the way our healthcare system is created, it is very ableist. And to an extent, right, you almost can't fault a young clinician for not seeing beyond, for not celebrating those small victories, because it's the young clinicians that they don't have that mature outlook to yet see more. And so I think, that's the mentorship I've learned. I mean, I've learned so much from working with Lisa. I've been a PT for 15 years and always been in neuro and super committed to the profession, but I've learned a ton from working alongside Lisa.
And I have you.
Yeah. So I think it's right. It's some of it is just a byproduct of the system and the societal inputs and what you learn in school that interferes with your ability to see beyond, right?
Yeah.
Why we can't make the connection that at the end of the day, right, when I get home, I'm researching, what hike or mountain biking trail I can hit over the weekend. Like, why we can't make the connection that everyone wouldn't be doing that, regardless, right, of their ability or disability. I don't know why that's a hard bridge or jump to take, but it comes with, continued learning and just that maturation.
Yeah. You know what go ahead, Addie.
No, I was going to say the unfortunate thing, like, let's remove disability as a whole. People are short-sighted. They are myopic in what they see.
Yeah.
And until we become a world where your neighbor matters again, we are going to be stuck in this circle about any topic. Take away disability. If it's about me and my survival and I live in this little island and I'm protecting my island, we're going to have the problems. Hey, I'm not you, but I want to bring you sugar because that's what my farm does and you do carrots. You know what I mean? Like, it's that, right? And saying like, hey, human, what's going on over here? But we have to breed those people too. We have to grow them as a society.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Yeah.
When I was in, this is probably middle school, there was no adaptive sports, let me put it that way. But we just figured it out, with my other classmates. I played flag football with them. Right. And, we just figured out that when I go out and you throw a pass to me, if I reach up with my crutch and it hits my crutch, I've got the ball now, and now I'm open game. You come after me, that kind of thing. And I never felt that. I never really felt like I was bullied. Never felt like, I was excluded from anything. And I don't know if that's maybe my personality. I don't know, but
that is atypical. And Rachel and I have had this conversation. It's the most interesting thing to watch children. I now have grandchildren and they have to be taught to see differences.
Yes.
How many times do you see a parent jerk an infant's hand back from touching a wheelchair? And it's like, oh my gosh, do you know what you just did? Yeah. We are naturally taught to be curious and inquisitive and loving and accepting. And somehow, to your point, we teach people that, no, this is your lane. There's no gray. You need to do this. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. You're right. We have to reteach everybody to go, the rules are not sacred unless it's Paralympic, but recreationally, the rules are not sacred. Yeah. Include everybody. Let's have some fun. Change the ball, put it on pavement. Let's go.
When I used every single day when I would go to lunch, there was an area where you could sit on a lawn and eat lunch. So, I'd find my people and I'd sit in a group and pretty soon somebody would come by and grab my crutches. Can I try these? And they'd take off. Yes. For the next 45 minutes, I'd see my crutches walking by with a new person, 4 or 5 or 6 times during lunch. And that happened every day. And never were they not there when lunch was over.
Well, I can tell you why you were included.
Yeah.
Right there is why you were included. You were a part of it. You had a pulse and you wanted to be part of everything.
Yeah. Somebody was interested. Okay. Don't pull the stroller away from them. Yeah.
No, I still remember years ago when my sister and I went to Disneyland and a little kid, like probably 3, whatever, is like, how they have like the dividers. So I'm on one side, they're basically behind me. The little kid walks under the divider, climbs on my lap and just like sits with me. And the parents are freaking out because they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. And I start talking about, this is a wheelchair. It's like a big kid stroller. Yeah. Doing all this stuff. And the parents are just like freaked out. And I'm like, no, this is how they learn. Like, my lap was open. They were tired of standing up. Well, here we go.
Outstanding. You identified the kid's commodity on every level.
But that's a memory. That was probably 30 years ago, maybe. I don't know. And I still remember that moment where it was a teachable moment and the universe just said, do it. And I didn't care. I just was like, I hope you're not sick because I don't want to be sick. But that was the concern. It wasn't like stranger danger that I was going to abduct their child, get out of line and throw a second head. Hey, here's a chance to show you a wheelchair. So there you go.
That's great. So do you guys work together on preparing your athletes for the Paralympics?
So at CASA, we don't necessarily prepare for the Paralympics. We're more grassroots right now. We've introduced fencing, we've introduced bocce, wheelchair rugby, all kinds of different sports, and had many of the literal coaches of those teams come in and teach our clients.
Oh, good.
And so, that's more training site stuff that Lakeshore Foundation does. And we right now are trying to help with filling that pipeline, right? Fencing needs some athletes, so does bocce. And quite honestly, we have hopefuls in either of those. We think they're hopefuls, but I don't think it's that the coaches are just being nice. They're paying to fly them to tournaments. So
That's amazing.
So you guys are scouting, huh?
Stoked.
Yeah.
Right. I knew you win. You get those rights of the I knew you win. We saw it from the get.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah, we do a ton of things together. Rachel does. Rachel is one of these people who the dust settles and she goes, okay, what are we going to do next?
So I love those people. Those are I need a nap. You have your next idea why I'm
like
napping.
goose through the dust to catch up with her half of the time.
So we have two big events at TLC that I think really have become the heartbeat of TLC. And again, our goal with these events is to keep that spirit kindled. The reason, I guess the inspiration or the motivation behind it is a couple years ago, at COS we have a children's center and we were planning, how do we celebrate Halloween? Right? We have an adult residential day treatment facility. How do you celebrate Halloween as an adult? We're not painting pumpkins. We're adults. Like, it's just not what adults do. And so one of our clinicians had this great idea of let's turn this whole building into a haunted house for the kids of the children's center. We made it a competition. The patients loved it. They went crazy. And I saw 200% more buy-in from the patients after that event, because that event gave them purpose. They celebrated Halloween like an adult would, right? I get dressed up for my kids, not for me. That's how adults celebrate Halloween. But there was that purpose, right, that transferred into buy-in. And so with that, we are always looking to level up. And so we have two great events at the TLC. One is our 5K. We've done it for 2 years in a row, and we have our patients design and make all of our shirts. We have a 1 mile track around campus. Our patients can do 1, 2, or all 3 miles. We have a big party before we head off, like a 5K. Our patients hang the balloons and the finish line and the start line. Lisa and her team create this incredible finish line with a silly string finish. Everyone gets a red ribbon to cross. Everyone gets a medal. We've got marketing at the end, taking beautiful pictures of our patients crossing the finish line. It's just such joy and accomplishment. And it's really an opportunity for all of us, clinicians and patients alike, to celebrate our accomplishments and celebrate it through movement. It's like one of those events where you're buzzing for days after, because it's just you feel all the feels. It's incredible. Both years we have had the most amazing finishes where patients, against all odds, are finishing a mile or a kilometer, whatever the distance, but against all odds. And, last year's most beautiful thing, because everyone who had already finished got up and created, a lane. So one of our patients just walked through the finish line with, 50 feet of a tunnel and everyone chanting his name. So, right, take someone who's still hasn't been home yet since their injury and now has an entire department screaming their name, cheering him. What could make you feel more important and loved and confident and motivated to continue than that?
And seen, right? There's a
scene.
You're seen.
Celebrated.
I don't think I could go to that because I'd be crying the whole day. I literally would be a wreck.
It's I think I cried a little bit watching him finish. And I think what brought me more joy was seeing everyone flank him and cheer for him. I knew he could finish. I knew that he'd be able to do it. He didn't know that he had doubled his distance from the year before, so he thought that he had done the same distance. But seeing the community, right? Going back to the community was so important for me. The other amazing event we do is called Camp Casa, and it is a week of summer camp inspired programming.
How fun.
That is exactly what it is. It is fun. I grew up at summer camp. Summer camp made me who I am. And so summer camps where you're supposed to explore and be creative and laugh and have fun and grow in all the ways that we don't grow throughout the school year. And so we created this incredible week, and it also was an opportunity for our staff to be their best selves. So we said to the staff, what are those hobbies that you do that you love about yourself? And you get to do that for an hour. So we had people, not just from our department, we had people from all across the hospital come. We had somebody from another department come teach our patients how to draw cartoons. We had pot planting, how to make sourdough bread, a home run derby, a football combine. I mean,
wow.
Friendship bracelet making, literally everything.
Literally camp, where you're like, what do I want to do today? Archery or the pond? Yeah.
Exactly. So for 2 hours a day, we had a choose your own adventure. And then on the last day, we had an all camp competition. And I mean, it was so much fun. Like, I probably should have gone in trouble. Like, it was so fun. And yeah, it was amazing. Same thing, you just feel the energy buzzing off of everybody for weeks after the events. And that's the energy that we look to continue to feed.
Yeah. Are those on campus?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And is there a community, and I mean the greater community involvement opportunity there?
Yeah. So our big hopes and dreams are for that 5K to become a large community involvement. Good. Yeah.
I don't see why not.
And when are they happening? Do you have dates on them?
Yeah, our 5K happens every April. We usually do the third or fourth Friday in April to celebrate Occupational Therapy Month. So this year it's going to be April 24th. And then Camp Casa, we did it a little bit too late last year. It was super hot. Mm-hmm. So we're looking to do Camp Casa at the end of June this year.
Well, good. Do you have flyers for those? I'm going somewhere with this. I want to help promote it.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of heat, I have a shameless plug. So we have an event that involves the community. All the wheelchair sports we do, the community is invited free of charge on campus Casa grounds, and we play a very robust variety of wheelchair sports and adaptive activity. But there's a particular camp that takes place for 3 days in May known as Beat the Heat. One full day is in Long Beach, deep sea fishing out of Pier Point. And so we literally go out in the morning, deep sea fish all day, come back. The next day is at the U.S. Sailing Center in Long Beach. We do sailing, we do outrigger canoeing, and gondola. And the gondoliers sing, if you can imagine, going along the channels in Naples. And the last day is a wheelchair and adaptive sport day at the Crowler Center in Glendora. And we have all kinds of sports. I mean, I think this year we'll have 13 different sports. We take over the entire center. It is closed to the public unless the public is coming in to learn and enjoy wheelchair sports. Yeah. So tennis courts, basketball courts, rugby, all kinds of sports. So I think that's something that we're excited to pull community into, because like what Rachel is saying, it's part of this continuum, but the bigger picture is, and I think you nailed it, it doesn't matter as much, particularly, especially for this event, if you love sport or fishing or not. It's get out, engaged, join the community. And if you like sport or you like movement, benefit from that lifetime fitness that everybody should have the opportunity. Because your point about, hey, can I go and play at lunch or nutrition or whatever? That's a fair question. My question is always, what does the kid who needs a sport chair do? They can't sit in a sport chair all day at school. They'll run over everybody's toes. They won't be able to get down the aisle or in the door.
Yes.
Right.
So how do we meet kids where they are when they're growing up and they need to move and create those lifetime fitness behaviors that will enhance longevity? How do we give that opportunity? And, we could have another 5-hour discussion on do that.
Yeah.
But it's important.
Can I get on a mailing list and you can, so I'll know about all those events when they come up?
Absolutely. We will shoot it to you.
Good deal.
That's amazing. I'm so happy. My cheeks hurt.
And another event that's coming up March 7th, and it's known as the Roll and Rally Sport Blast. And it is hosted at the Claremont Club, which is 20 minutes from Rancho, very beautiful club, tennis club. But the Perfect Step, which is an organization nearby, the Triumph Foundation, which is also nearby, with Casa Colina, create this community awareness event. And we play tennis, we play pickleball, we play over the line, which is like baseball, and we play rugby in the morning. But what this entire event evolves into in the afternoon is the opportunity for community members to try wheelchairs, to come and play all these sports in chairs, and then have the opportunity to play a tennis tournament, wheels and heels. So up, down, wheels, heels. One person sitting in a chair gets 2 bounces. One person standing up gets 1 bounce, and it is on, right? So these guys have a tournament the rest of the day. And our goal, our collective goal in that is to heighten ability awareness levels. That kid who doesn't know what he's capable of and his friends think that he can't, whatever, finish that sentence. They learn by coming, oh, yes, you can. Yeah. And tiny modifications, and you can be included in anything.
Yeah, most importantly, themselves. They may not think they can do it, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. For sure.
Awesome. There's got to be more that we have. Let me see. Wrote a few notes here.
Okay. I mean, there's so much. Like, we could just riff, but we'd be here all year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's so many clinical things too. When somebody comes to you, what's the process? And I'm sure it's got to be very patient specific. Because like we said before, everybody's different, so there's not one treatment that fits all.
Yeah, that's right. We, at the Transitional Living Center, we have a comprehensive program. So every patient who comes through will be seen and evaluated by physical therapists, occupational therapy, speech therapy, psychology, rec therapy. And then the team gets to work together to identify what are the goals, the needs, what are the gaps as well. The TLC is a special place. It's a unique setting, and every patient in our program gets a 6-hour therapy day. So therapy starts at 9, it ends at 3. We have both residential and day treatment clients. Regardless of where you sleep, you get the same therapy. And, in neuro rehab, we talk all about, right? The buzzword, right, is intensity, right? Well, I think intensity is really, and I've been doing this for 15 years, intensity is really hard to get at when you have 45 minutes or 1 hour with the patient. Even in acute rehab, which is always talked about as being the most intensive form, you still are sitting in a chair or sitting in bed for 20 hours a day. So in our program, I think that the special sauce is the entirety of the day. Our residential clients wake up between 5:30 and 7 so that they can do all of their AM needs, eat, go to nursing, shower, etc., and they're all expected to be ready to go by 9. And so that in itself is a 2 to 3 hour process, all a therapeutic process. Then you have a 6-hour therapy day, PT, OT, speech, rec therapy, psychology. We have 8 vehicles. We're out in the community all the time. We have 2 basketball courts, a garden. We have access to the pool here at Casa Colina. We have a wood shop. We have, I think incredible therapists, and of course, that's the key ingredient. Mm-hmm. But our therapists work seamlessly together, and part of my leadership style is that we overlap and we respect that. PT and OT overlap and we respect that. Speech and OT overlap and we respect that. And so we sit side by side. All of our meetings are done together, and we work together to identify, right? Maybe that patient's never done sport. But what we're recognizing is right now that patient doesn't have a productive day once they leave our program. So what can we pair up with rec therapy, with Lisa's team, to expose them to see, maybe they're going to learn that they love sport for the first time in their 30s or 40s, 50s. Or maybe they've just always had to work so much that they never had the opportunity to explore everything else. So now that they can't work, they don't even know where to start. Yeah. And so some of it comes from, I think it first just comes from us recognizing that they need something. And what are all of the things that we have to give them? So in a typical week at the TLC, we have your traditional PT, your traditional OT, speech, etc. And we really do customize it to people. But we also have a robust weekly programming that includes standing yoga, seated yoga, hiking, sewing class, macrame, art, leather making, wood shop, gardening, boxing, a boot camp, aquatic therapy, healthy eating classes. I mean, and I'm
Crunch your core, meditate, mellow. What is it? It's starting
mindful lunching. We have we have a meditation group. I mean, and I'm probably forgetting half of it.
Yeah.
So that we can sit as a team and say, okay, we've got this new patient who just came in. We know that he or she needs vision therapy, but hey, they also mentioned that they love X, Y, and Z. So let's plug them into these groups. Mm-hmm. And helping people, right, see their abilities through leisure recreation as led by a skilled clinician, so that they're also working on their attention, their sequencing, their processing, their impulse control, their fine motor skills, their strength, their balance, whatever it is, but while doing something that they really enjoy. We even have like one of my favorite classes, because we are here in Southern California, so a huge portion of our patients are Hispanic. We have adapted ESL classes led by our speech therapists.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's really, again, right, getting inspiration from absolutely everything that exists and bringing it into our program to provide all those opportunities to our patients.
Yeah.
And not calling it therapy to fool their mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nothing
Playtime.
Okay.
Yes. Exploration.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing we've talked a lot about here, and I've said for years, is that the physical part is really the easy part to overcome. People mm-hmm. heal and they're out of the hospital in a week or two from their injuries, but it's the mental part of transitioning from your old life to now the new life that you have, and you have to deal with it. Are there group sessions that they can kind of express their feelings? And I imagine you have some patients that they're hard line. I don't need that, And
we have a lot of patients like that, actually. Yeah. We have multiple support groups throughout the week. We have spinal cord injury support group, which is led by Dean McCabe, who's an amazing resource, Paralympian.
2000 Sydney, Australia, wheelchair rugby gold medalist.
I thought that name was familiar.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, why do I know that name? Well, there you go. You answered my question.
As well as an occupational therapist and a psychologist. Our psychologists also lead brain injury education groups, brain injury support groups, mood management groups. We have healthy eating, which is and like sort of like addiction based groups as well.
Cool.
But yeah, we do have a lot of patients who will say, I only get to be here for X amount of days, so I don't want to spend my time just talking. I want to transfer better, or I want to do X, Y, Z better. I need to focus everything on this. And we really see the value in it. Everything. There is not a single clinician who's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Sounds good. They're like, maybe I'll let you slide for a week.
Yeah.
But no, that's not what you need. So I think because the whole team is on board with the whole process, mm-hmm. It's kind of it's just what we do. It's how we do it. And you gotta, they quickly get on board.
Oh, there's no go ask mom because dad said no.
There's a whole lot of trying. There's a whole lot of trying.
Still trying that old trick.
Yeah.
We're like,
a whole lot of trying. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think a united front, right, always kind of wins. Of like, great, we'll let you think that you're thinking, but then we're going to kind of lead you where you really want to go till you thought it was your idea, and ta-da!
Well, I can't feed myself. You need to feed me, right? No, 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 no,
Yeah.
right? So we do spend a ton of time as a team identifying those behaviors or as a team creating our response so that we are a united front. And from clinicians all the way down to our technicians, creating clear instructions for how to respond in the face of that so that we are still working towards those therapeutic goals.
Is there a lot of pushback because you're able-bodied? I'm just, how do you know? I mean, that would seem like an easy way to go, for somebody that was pushing back on some of these things.
There's a lot of pushback for a lot of different things. I don't know if I don't think I hear most like you don't understand. Definitely from time to time.
Yeah.
But I mean, the pushback's creative too.
Yeah. You need a little notebook
They get
where
points
you
for
write down,
that.
like the best ones, and like at the end of the year, you're like, and best creative pushback goes to.
It gets so good that we'll have to like verify with you. Like, Lisa, did you really say that? Like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
and they're like, no, of course, right? Of course I didn't, right? So yeah,
That's fun.
so we have to be really strong in our
Consistent.
and consistent and strong in our belief that our method is right.
And, your histories and education and all those things, I'm sure gives you some credibility when you're doing that.
I don't know if the patients care.
They don't look
I
at
think the
that.
staff helps the staff, right? Tell the staff hold the line, right? Absolutely gives them confidence. I don't think the patients care.
And in truth, a greater majority of people with whom we work have brain injuries, not spinal cord injuries. So,
It's one of more creative behaviors.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes, when I was in high school, there was a program at our high school called Peer Helpers, and so we would go and help another student, whatever, right? Well, as like the token disabled, which sounds horrible, but that's how it was. This kid had gotten hit. He was high and he had gotten hit by a semi.
Oh my God.
And so the family requested that like somebody come to the rehab facility and like help him. And lucky me. But I learned a
peer
lot about
support.
traumatic brain injury because he like would say, "You're so skinny, you need to eat pizza and have a beer." And I'd be like, "What?" And because I had to be taught that like he doesn't have that function in his brain anymore. But I mean, like that was one of the things that like as a young high schooler, I was like, wow, the brain is fascinating because of the stuff he said. I was like, you don't say that to a person, let alone a girl or like, but how are you going to argue with him? You're just like, okay, we're going to do our exercises now. Thank you. So I could totally.
Every day is exciting. Every day is exciting.
Good.
That's fun.
So who is who can avail themselves of all this goodness? I'm sure insurance helps out a lot, but it's not excluded to just a community that's disabled already or has just become disabled. Because I know I've gone there a couple of times for physical therapy. And I don't know. I don't know if I was allowed in because I was disabled or, if anybody can come. That's all. I'm just curious.
So we host a really large gala known as Triumph to Courage. Tribute to Courage. Tribute to Courage. And that takes place each year. And all of the funds raised from that event go to provide scholarships for people to attend TLC for sure within the hospital when insurance doesn't cover it. And outdoor adventures, you can apply for a scholarship to go to any of our outdoor adventures. Any of the wheelchair sports are free, but sailing or deep sea fishing does have a nominal fee, and you can apply for a scholarship. And we go on based on financial need. And that is, I think, the most incredible gift to have TLC and Casa Colina provide that opportunity to come in and, one, I don't think anybody should be denied care, period.
Right.
But Casa Colina is a group of people in an organization that finds a way. And I have, again, that's one of those things I drive home thinking, I'm like, how did that happen? And it is, sometimes I'm not even aware of the person who waved the wand or donated the money. It's just, you can do that, Lise, go ahead. It'll be fine.
Everything's good.
Take them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intervention that takes place behind the scenes that I think Rachel and I some of the time just get the opportunity to be the people presenting the opportunity, to be blessed with that, because I'll tell you, there's some amazing people that work on every level at Casa. There's just no question about it.
Well, good. I'm glad we got to share a couple and the idea of the rest of you to our audience. Appreciate it very much. You coming by. Addie, any final questions that you have?
I'm in the bliss of of sharing the story. Humans, like, it's just so awesome to give humans a chance to be who they are and reach their potential. You know me, this is like my bag. So here is an institution that also does this, and people, it's clear talking to you guys, like, you live this and you love this. And even if you're different than us, which sounds funny to say because we're normally the different ones, I think the passion for it is the same, right? And it's, again, coming together as a community and saying, let's hug the world in the way that it's my way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And Lisa and Rachel, anything that maybe we missed that you wanted to make sure we got out there? Or we'll just have to have you back.
I know.
Wonderful.
We will send you those links. We would welcome everybody to come and join us, be part of the community in this area.
Wear our shirts. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for your time.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
I had a huge bruise from my mom's 9mm. It was a hollow point, and it went in diagonal up an angle from just above my right ear to about the left side of my top of my head.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
From the Ugyar Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
I love this interview. Clearly, I became like a universal clairvoyant for a second when I fell in love with these people, but I don't care. Like, they are our tribe. They are a tribe. They are why we do this podcast. They are the feeling that they are living the feeling that we want to provide people when they listen, I think is the way to say it, because it's such a holistic view. And they're not saying like, okay, now you're the disabled identity and that's all you are, which is a lot of what the world kind of tries to say, right? And so I love this. I love this so much. And I love that it was freaking pioneered 100 years ago.
Right, yeah.
In a different form, right? Like a little bit different form, but still dealing with something that was taboo at the time or like pushed off to the side, and then it's evolved over time. So.
And grew it beyond that, so for
100%.
all the other services, I mean, that's almost a full-time job, and for a lot of organizations, it is, to deal with one thing or a couple things, and they've got like 30 different things. We didn't talk about them all, but you know what I mean?
We didn't touch 1/10 of them.
The other thing too is, as we were listening, there was just so much great information in there. But one of the things I really loved was as deep as they are in this, and for as long as they've been a part of our community to provide us with the services and programs they do, they remain respectful that they don't have the actual experience.
That they are now.
Yeah, they didn't get to a place of where, we know how you feel, because I'm sure you've heard it too, Addie. Oh, I have an aunt that has CP, so I know all about what it's like. Okay, whatever. Oh, my son broke his foot last year, and he was walking on crutches, so I know what you're talking about. It's okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I haven't We really, truly, well, I would say this is one of the times in my life that they were so clear about saying we are allies.
Yeah.
We are not experiencers. And I think that is powerful too in how they treat the clientele that they deal with, right? Because people don't want you to come in and say like, yeah, I'm going to blow sunshine up your butt and it's all going to be okay. And I'm not the one to tell you that because I don't even really know. The fact that they're so clear at like, I am supporting you because this is a passion, I think goes a long way with people feeling them to truly be a resource. Just in my own opinion.
Yeah, no. And I think, not to say that they're just going to coddle you, and that's not what I mean. They're going to push you and you're going to get some good work out of it, but they are mindful of actual, who the actual person is experiencing that life. All righty, next week.
Yeah, next week.
Let me look at my notes. I don't have
next
this all
week
memorized.
It'll be a new week and a new guest.
That's right, and a new month.
And, oh gosh, and a new month, and it's my birthday month.
Oh no, I lied.
And it's the month that we travel to I travel to you.
Is it a new month? 24th.
Next week. Yes.
Yeah, and then no,
it's the first.
This week is the 24th. So that's it. Yeah, so it'll be a new month.
Yeah, it's okay.
Took me a while to figure that all out.
I'm on the head through the Zoom. It's okay.
Oh, goodness sakes. All right. I was looking at my notes to figure out who it was going to be next month. Right. Yeah, it's going to be Gina Nunez.
Cool. Gina has a really good story, too.
Yeah, they're all so good, and I keep telling people, when I'm out and about, I'm like, God, we've got some really good ones coming, and everyone, I can't think of one that's going to let anybody down. They're really good. Sure. So stay tuned, and that's it, right?
Yeah, well, but like, subscribe, do all the things, press all the buttons for us, leave your comments. We do read them, all that good stuff.
What's starting to happen here, probably not across the country, because there's a big portion of the country that is still fighting through, all the snow that's piled up. But, it was 77 today. But there's a lot of...
we are 50 degrees different. I am 27. No, 27. I'm 37. I'm sorry.
27?
Yeah, I'm still cold.
Yeah, still much colder.
Different.
But what's happening is there's a lot of events that are already starting. There was like 2 this past weekend, and there's more coming up. So, going back to Push for the Pier this Saturday. So, be nice to get down to the bench, down to the beach. All right, guys. Have a great time. Again, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate all you do. Leave some comments, too, if you don't mind. Love to hear from you. All right. I'm Doug Vincent with Addie Rich from the Agyar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.